Joining me now to discuss, former CIA Director for President Clinton, James Woolsey. Sir, good to have you with us tonight.
To be with you.
What do you make of Ari's assessment there? I mean, this is a discussion that's important to have, but is it one that rises to the level of impeaching any president?
Well, I think not only does it not rise to the level of impeachment, but it's very difficult to understand how something could allegedly be used as a bribe when the other party doesn't know anything about it. One of your previous commentators said that the Ukrainians didn't know that there was any withholding until August, I think it was 29th, which is after the famous conversation that has led to so much discussion. So I think it's verging on the ridiculous for the Democrats to claim that there was an incentive given, that you don't say quid pro quo anymore, but if one of the two parties doesn't know there's a quo, it's sort of hard to lean on them.
And then we see the terminology is changing a little bit on the accusations now. Okay, Sean Davis, one of the co-founders of the Federalist, tweeted this today. Says, as best as I can tell by Bill Taylor's testimony thus far, Trump's real crime is refusing to delegate the entirety of U.S. foreign policy decision-making to a coterie of unelected career bureaucrats who think the Constitution gives them all the power and authority to run the country, which then gets us to this conversation about whether the bureaucracy, whether the quote-unquote deep state thinks that they're smarter and better at making these decisions than the commander-in-chief. Having been the leader of the CIA, what do you make about this conversation of a so-called deep state?
Well, there are a lot of people who work for the State Department and the CIA and other government agencies who are extremely loyal Americans, not only to their country, but also to their boss, and correctly would resign if they came in conflict with their boss. But there are also some, certainly don't think it's a majority, but there are some who fulfill this the criteria for what people are calling a deep state, undermining the president's policies because they don't like them. I think they're there, and I think they are sounding off privately and trying to influence events. But I certainly don't think they are the principal characterization of the civil servants in the U.S.
That's the majority of them. Okay, I want to play something that the ranking member, Congressman Devin Nunes, said today in his opening statement about the U.S. providing assistance to Ukraine, and then some more on that.
Despite all their dissatisfaction with President Trump's Ukraine policy, the president approved the supply of weapons to Ukraine. Unlike the previous administration, which provided blankets as defense against invading Russians.
This is then Ukrainian President Poroshenko's reaction in 2018, thanking President Trump for sending lethal aid. He said, finally, the day has come. Today, for the first time in Ukraine, the launch of Javelin missile complexes took place. It's a very effective defensive weaponry, which is used in the event of Russian offensive on the positions of Ukrainian troops. How would you assess what this administration has done to help Ukraine?
Well, by transferring Javelin and other lethal aid instruments, weapons, as well as things that they need anyway and were given by the Obama administration, such as blankets. It's under those circumstances, the Trump administration really has done a great deal more for aiding Ukraine than the Obama administration did. Each president gets to make his own decisions about these things, but I think it's not just a slight difference, it's a huge difference to be able to have an anti-aircraft or anti-ballistic missile system, or an anti-tank system it is, as effective as what was transferred, and that certainly was not done anywhere near done in the Obama administration.
Well, these hearings are now sparking those conversations once again. Former CIA Director James Woolsey, thank you. Good to see you.
Good to be with you, Shannon.